Ever since I can remember, I always felt like there was a God over everything, and I felt like He watched over me. I can never explain that. My parents weren't Christians. They weren't really Buddhist either.
My parents were a part of the Jesus movement in the late 70s. Pretty much just followed Christianity according to what my parents believed in. Up until high school, I'd been in about 20 schools. Along the way, a lot of people are saying, what are you in the Army? Were you Army brat or something like that? I'm like, no, just a hippie.
So in high school, I was whisked away to a Christian retreat, and I accepted Christ there. I kind of had an unclear vision of what walking with God is supposed to be.
But I had a really bad experience at my high school church. I really felt that I was rejected more than me rejecting the church. I felt the church had rejected me.
By the time I got to college, I was just really frustrated because I felt like I was really earnestly seeking and just didn't understand how I was supposed to live.
My love for music really brought me into the rave culture. And it had everything that I thought a culture would have to offer me.
What attracted me to the rave culture too was the anthem. Actually, the rave anthem at the time was peace, love, unity, respect.
The irony was, it was everything that we were looking for in a church.
It has the guise of everything that you would want from an authentic community, but it was all based on really superficial things at the same time.
I started doing every type of drug imaginable, and from out of all that, I started actually dealing. I became one of those people at UCLA that people knew. I met this one guy and he said, "Oh, you're Colin, you're the big drug dealer." I took a step back right there and I was just like, wow, I need to re-examine my life. That's what I'm known for.
Slip this needle into my vein, and the hope I'll escape this pain.
At that point, we were living together. We had the same apartment, but we hadn't really wholeheartedly explored following Christ together.
My roommates ended up inviting us to this Campus Crusade conference in San Diego. This one man stood out, and his name was Erwin McManus. So as soon as we got back in LA, we looked up in the phone book, Mosaic.
The first time that we went there, we walked through the doors, and immediately just the ambience and the atmosphere really hit close to home. A lot of people that we were meeting there had very similar stories, and I was like, wow, I can connect to these people.
What started to eat away at me was I realized that we were doing everything like we were married, but for some reason he wasn't asking me to be his wife, and I thought that God was convicting me.
So after avoiding talking about it with Shiho for a whole week, I woke up Saturday morning with this burden inside my heart. So I said, God's telling me right now that we need to move out and we need to start things over the right way.
The next few hours we spent mourning the decision that we had just made.
I started trying to compare myself to some people that really made some real sacrifices. This is like Abraham and Isaac. This is like Jesus on the cross. And then I was just like, wait a minute, this isn't anything like Jesus. I was like, this is the least that I could do.
When he said that, everything changed. That was the moment of transformation.
It was at that moment right there that both of us really, truly accepted Christ as our personal Savior.
This was one small thing that we could do that meant everything to us. And it was the very thing that God wanted us to sacrifice in order to really understand the meaning of sacrifice. I realized that it's not my willpower that is going to change my life and bring me from being fragmented and broken to being whole. It's something completely outside of myself.
I really thought about my old life and what I was giving up. I closed my eyes and I really had a supernatural experience. I saw the face of Christ and he came up to me, put his hand on my shoulder and just said, "It's going to be okay. You've done the right thing. I'm going to take you the rest of the way."